in this lecture. In this lecture today, I am going to describe about the colligative property. So in the last lecture, I had discussed about the surface chemistry, and in the surface chemistry, I discussed about the basic concept about the adsorption phenomena. I also discussed different types of the adsorption isotherm, like Friendlich adsorption isotherm, Langmuir adsorption isotherm, DET surface area adsorption isotherm, and also I discuss about the application of the adsorption phenomena. Now, in continuation to the surface chemistry chapter, the next part is the colligative property. So, in order to understand the colligative property, first all of you need to understand the vapor pressure. What is the vapor pressure? So let's understand what is the vapor pressure. So if you take this diagram, and in this diagram you can see that if you take any volatile liquid in a container, then what will happen after some times, the molecules of the surface of the liquid will start evaporate, and then the evaporate molecules will occupy the vacant position. Then the molecules of the vapor phase flows randomly and strike on the surface of the liquid molecule. Then after some times they will start condensate on the surface of the liquid. So what happens? A dynamic equilibrium established between the evaporate phase and condense phase. So at equilibrium, the rate of the evaporation will be equal to the rate of the condensation. It means that the pressure exerted by the vapor over the liquid surface at equilibrium is called the vapor pressure of the liquid. So you can see that in this diagram, there is at equilibrium, there is some extra pressure developed. So this extra pressure developed, that is called the vapor pressure of the liquid. And in this diagram, you can see that the rate of the evaporation and the rate of the condensation equals at equilibrium. It means that at dynamic equilibrium, the rate of the evaporation will be equal to the rate of the condensation. Okay, so this is called the vapor pressure. Now let's understand what is the colligative properties of a dilute solution. Basically, the colligative properties are those properties which depend entirely upon the particles, number of the particles of the solute dissolved in a known volume of a given solvent, and not at all depend upon the composition of the solute. So it means that the colligative properties are entirely depends upon the number of the particles of the solute, not it depends upon the composition of the solute. Okay, so this is called the colligative properties. Colligative properties are basically four types. The first is the lowering of vapor pressure. The second is the osmotic pressure. Third is the elevation of boiling point, and fourth is the depressing of freezing point. So these are the four types of the colligative properties. Now let's understand one by one the mathematical formula and some numerical problem based upon individual colligative properties. So let's first talk about the lowering of vapor pressure. So lowering of vapor pressure. So when we derive the mathematical equation of the lowering of vapor pressure, we get the final equation P1 is equal to X1 P1 naught, which is also known as Raoult's law. And I hope that all of you are familiar about the Raoult's law of vapor pressure lowering. Okay. So this equation you can also write P1 naught minus P1 divided by P1 is equal to X2, where X2 is the mole fraction, and where P1 minus P1 is called the lowering of vapor pressure, and the whole P1 naught minus P1 divided by P1 is called the relative vapor pressure. So if you want to define the mole fraction, you know that the mole fraction is equal to X2 is equal to N2 upon N1 plus N2, where X2 is the mole fraction and N1 and N2 are the number of the molecules. Okay. So for a dilute solution, the number of the molecule N2 can be neglected in compared to the N1. So you can get the equation X2 is equal to N2 by N, or you can also write this equation, and X2 is equal to W2 upon M2 divided by W1 upon M1, because number of molecules you can define the ratio of the weight of the molecules divided by the molecular mass. So you can write this equation X2 is equal to W2 M1 upon M1 and M2, right? So now the final resulting equation, you can write P1 naught minus P1 divided by P1 naught is equal to X2 is equal to W2 M1 upon W1 M2. So this is the final mathematical equation of the lowering pressure. Okay. So by using this mathematical equation, we can also solve some numerical problem based upon the lowering of vapor pressure. Okay. For example, question number first, you can understand in question number first, 0.5 gram of a non-volatile solute of a molar mass 60 gram per mole is dissolved in 100 gram of ethyl acetate at 20 degrees Celsius. What would be the vapor pressure of this solution at 20 degrees Celsius? The vapor pressure of ethyl acetate at 20 degrees Celsius is 72.8 torr. Okay. So now let's understand how we can solve this numerical problem. So you know that the mathematical equation of the lowering vapor pressure is equal to this one, right? So in this equation, you have to calculate the vapor pressure. Okay. One thing also you need to understand in this equation, X2 is equal to W2 M1 divided by M1 W1 and M2. So here W2 is the amount of the solute dissolved in W amount of the solvent, and M1 is the molecular mass of the M1 is the molar mass of the solute, and M2 is the molar mass of the solvent. Try to understand, this is the very important point, where W2 is the mass of the solute and W1 is the mass of the solvent, where M1 is the molar mass of the solute, and M2 is the molar mass of the solvent. So in this example, you have given the values of 0.5 gram, which is the 0.5 gram of a non-volatile solute of molar mass 60 gram dissolved in 100 gram of ethyl acetate. It means that in this equation, in this numerical problem, you have given the value of W2, which is 0.5 gram, and you have given the value of 100 gram of ethyl acetate, which is the value of W1. Okay, and this equation you have given the value of M1 means the molar mass of the ethyl acetate. So you can calculate the molar mass of the ethyl acetate. So that will be the value of M1, and then you have also given the value of W1. So W1 you have given, and you have also given the value of P1 naught, right? So this is the 72.8 is the lower vapor pressure at lower. Okay. So this is the value of P1 naught, and by putting all these values W2, M1, W1, M2, you can easily calculate the value of P1. Okay. So this is a very simple numerical problem, and similarly you can also solve the second numerical problem. So you can see that in this example, 1.20 gram of a non-volatile organic substance was dissolved in 100 gram of a acetone at 20 degrees Celsius. The vapor pressure of the solution was found to be 182.5 torr. Calculate the molar mass of the substance, and you have given the vapor pressure of the acetone at 20 degrees Celsius is 185 torr. Okay, so this problem is also same with the first one. So you have in the question it is asking calculate the molar mass of the substance. Calculate the molar mass of the substance means it is asking the molar mass of the solvent, means you have to calculate the value of M2, and you have given the value of P1 naught and P1 also. So you can see that this is the value of P1 naught, and you have given the value of P1. Okay, and you have given the value of M2, and you have given the value of W2, M1, and W1, right? So this is the value of W2, and you have given the value of M1. So by putting all these values in this equation, in this mathematical equation, you can easily calculate the value of M2. So always try to understand when any problem is given on the colligative properties, all of you need to understand in the question what is asking, because it is very important to understand the molar mass and the weight mass of the solute and solvent respectively. So if you can easily identify the solute and solvent, then you can easily calculate the respective values and you can solve the numerical problem. So these are the very fundamental numerical problem based upon the lowering vapor pressure. Now next is the vapor pressure lowering in terms of molarity of the solution. Okay. So in the question, if you have given the molarity of the solution, then how you will solve the problem? So for example, if m mole of the solute are dissolved in 100 gram of the solvent, then W2 upon M2 is equal to m and W1 is equal to 1000 gram. Then you can define the mathematical equation P1 naught minus P1 upon P1 naught is equal to X2, which is the mole fraction, and you can put this value, then you will get M1 upon 100 gram. So this equation you have to use when the molarity of the solution is given in the question. Let's solve this question. For example, question number first, what would be the vapor pressure of 0.5 molar solution of a non-volatile solute in benzene at 30 degrees Celsius? The vapor pressure of the benzene at 30 degrees Celsius is 119.6 torr. Okay. So in this question, you have given the vapor pressure of the benzene, you have given already. So you have to calculate the vapor pressure, and you have given the molarity 0.5 molar solution. It means that it has been given the value of small m, and m1 you can calculate because it is the benzene. So molecular mass of the benzene you can calculate. So by putting all these values, you can easily calculate the value of P1. Okay. So this question is particularly based upon when the molarity of the solution is given. Okay. So you have to use this mathematical formula. Similarly, you can also solve question number 2. So in question number 2, it is asking calculate the mass of the solute of a molar mass of 342 gram per mole that should be dissolved in 150 gram of water to reduce its vapor pressure at 22.8 torr. The vapor pressure of the pure water at 25 degrees Celsius is this one. So you can solve this numerical problem based upon the previous mathematical equation, which is P1 naught minus P1 upon P1 naught is equal to W2 M1 upon W1 M2. So this is a very simple numerical problem. Okay. So all of you should be having the practice how to solve the numerical problem based upon the individual colligative properties. Now next colligative properties is the osmosis and osmotic pressure. Okay. So let's understand what is the osmosis phenomena and what is the osmotic pressure phenomena. This is a very important. Okay. So let's understand is the diagram. So in this diagram, you can see that this is the U-shaped typed a hollow tube. Okay. And this hollow tube is divided by into two chamber A and B with a semi-permeable membrane. Okay. Here you can see that it's a semi-permeable membrane. Semi-permeable membrane is basically, it works to prevent the solute molecules from the solvent. Okay. So you can see that this is a semi-permeable membrane, and in chamber B, the solute and solvent both are present. So this semi-permeable membrane prevents the solute which is present in the solvent molecule. So only solvent can flow from chamber A to B. Okay. So since the chemical potential and the vapor pressure of the chamber A is greater than the chemical potential and the vapor pressure of the chamber B, it means that the flow of the solvent, the flow of the pure solvents flow from chamber A to B until the chemical potential and the vapor pressure of both chamber A and B becomes equal. So that process is called the osmosis, and in result a extra pressure developed on the chamber A. So that extra pressure developed is called the osmotic pressure. So you can define in another words osmosis when two solutions of a given substance at different concentration are separated by a semi-permeable membrane. The solvent passes from membrane through higher concentration to lower concentration. This process is called the osmosis. Okay, so you can also understand this is the little bit similar to the reaction diffusion. You, I think I hope that all of you know that what is the reaction diffusion system. So basically diffusion is defined as, suppose if you take the very concentrated molecule of a copper sulfate in a beaker and you also take a very dilute solution of copper sulfate. If you mix both the solution, then you will see that you will see some separate layer. You will see some boundaries between the two molecules because the solution is not homogeneous, right? So after some time, you will see that due to the migration of the ions from higher concentration to the lower concentration, after some time, the whole solution will be homogeneous. So that is called the diffusion. Diffusion means the migration of the ions from higher concentration to the lower concentration. So that is called the reaction diffusion system. Okay. Similarly, you can define osmotic pressure when a given solution is separated from the pure solvent by a semi-permeable membrane. The excess of pressure that must be applied to the solution to just prevent the flow of the solvent towards through it membrane is known as the osmotic pressure. So in this diagram, you can see that here there is some extra pressure developed in order to become equal the chemical potential and the vapor pressure of chamber A and B. So the extra pressure which is developed, that is called the osmotic pressure. Let me give another example of semi-permeable membrane, how you can understand the membrane in biological system. So all of you know that the cells present in our body, that is the backbone of the building life, right? So in cells, you can see that there is a membrane present, and the function of that membrane is to prevent the cell from the outside environment. You can understand, in other words, the membrane protects the cells from outside environment. So that is the working of the membrane. So membrane is very important in biological system. So similarly, this semi-permeable membrane prevents the flow of the solute present in the solvent while travels from chamber A to B. So that is called the semi-permeable membrane. Okay. So this is all about the osmosis and osmotic pressure. Since osmotic pressure depends on only the molar concentration of solute and it is independent on the nature of the solute, it means that it's a colligative properties. Okay. So in order to define colligative properties, the first condition is that it should not be dependent upon the nature of the solute. Nature of the solute means the composition. So it is independent on the composition of the solute. The colligative properties depends only on the number of the molecules of the solute. Okay. So you can give the mathematical equation of osmotic pressure. Osmotic pressure is always denoted by a pi, this notation. So pi is equal to W2 upon M2V RT. Okay, or you can also write this equation in terms of M2 is equal to W2 RT divided by pi V. So this is the mathematical equation of the osmotic pressure. I'm not describing here the derivation of all the mathematical equations of the individual colligative properties because that is very too long. So I don't want to put all of you in a very tough situation. So just you need to understand what is the respective mathematical formula of the individual colligative properties, and also you need to solve some numerical problem. That will be the only as per your syllabus. Okay. So in order to calculate the value of osmotic pressure, you can take the example, question number first. Calculate the molar mass of a non-volatile solute if at 25 degrees Celsius, its solution containing 1.6 gram per decimeter cube has an osmotic pressure 83 torr, and you have given the value of R. Okay. So in this equation, pi is osmotic pressure, W2 is the weight of the solute, M2 is the molar mass, R is the universal constant, and T is the temperature. Okay. So in this equation, you have to calculate the molar mass of a non-volatile solution. Okay. And you have given the osmotic pressure value. The osmotic pressure pi value is given here. The value of R is given and the value of T is also given. Always try to understand one thing while solving the numerical problem, when you are solving the numerical problem, always keep all the units in one unit. For example, if you are putting the temperature values in degree Celsius, then put all the values according to the degree Celsius. If you are putting the values of the temperature in Kelvin, then put all the values according to the Kelvin values. Okay. Otherwise, your uh, answer will be variate. Okay. So in this question, you can calculate the sorry. We have only 10 minutes, so let me finish very quickly. So in this problem, in this numerical problem, you can calculate the value of molar mass, and you have given the value of osmotic pressure. Okay, so this is very simple. Just putting all the values of uh, W2 pi RT, you can easily calculate the molar mass. Okay. Similarly, you can also solve the question number 2. All this question is given in the textbook which I had provided to all of you, the book chapter, colligative property chapter. So all the question is mentioned there. You can also do some more practice for solving the numerical problem. Now next is the reverse osmosis. Okay, reverse osmosis is just the opposite of the osmotic phenomena. So if the pressure applied on the solution is more than the osmotic pressure, the solvent will start flowing from the solution towards the pure solvent. So this phenomena is called the reverse osmosis. Let's understand in this diagram. So in this diagram, you can see that these are the two chambers. For example, if you want to get the drinking water from the salt solution, right? So how you will get it? So if you will apply the extra pressure on chamber A, then what will happen? The solution of the solution of this chamber will travel via a semi-permeable membrane, and you will get a pure water. Okay. So the only difference is that here you have, in reverse osmosis, you have to apply a extra pressure. However, in case of osmosis, the extra pressure developed at equilibrium. So in a reverse osmosis, you have to apply the extra pressure. Okay. Reverse osmosis, you can also take the general example of the RO system. We have RO system in our home. So that is the example of the reverse osmosis. Okay, this is the RO system. So in order to get the pure water from the raw water, these are the steps involved. So that is the example of the reverse osmosis. Okay. Now next colligative properties is the boiling point elevation. Okay. So boiling point elevation, basically the boiling point TB of a liquid, TB means the boiling point, is the temperature at which its vapor pressure is equal to the atmospheric pressure. When a non-volatile solute is added to a liquid, the vapor pressure of a liquid is decreased. Hence, it must be heated to a higher temperature in order that its vapor pressure equal to that of atmospheric pressure. This means that the addition of a non-volatile solute to a liquid raises the boiling point. Okay, so boiling point elevation means the vapor pressure at vapor phase and the liquid phase should be equal when you add any non-volatile solution. Okay, so this is the mathematical equation of boiling point. Delta T is equal to RT square B M1 upon M del, where this is the enthalpy of vaporization. Okay. So in this, so for a given solvent, this value can be treated as a constant, and it is denoted by a Kb, which is called the boiling point elevation. So boiling point elevation Kb is equal to RTB square M1 upon delta enthalpy of vaporization. So in order to define the value of Kb, if you will equal M is equal to 1, then you will get the Tb is equal to Kb. So you can define the molar boiling point elevation constant of a solvent is defined as the elevation in boiling point of the solution, which may be theoretically produced when 1 mole of the solute is dissolved in 1 kilogram of the solvent. So try to understand how you can define the molar boiling point elevation. Okay, so if you know the mathematical formula of the boiling point, then you can define the molar boiling point elevation. Okay, so in table first you can see that this is the molar boiling point elevation, which is the value of Kb of respective solvents. For water this is 0.52, for ethyl acetate this is 0.11. Okay, so this is very important, the molar boiling point elevation constant Kb. Similarly, You can also solve one numerical problem based upon the molar boiling point elevation. For example, find the molar boiling point elevation constant of a water when evaporates at 100 degrees Celsius with the absorption of 4069.2. So here you have given the enthalpy of vaporization. Here you have given the value of delta H vaporization. Okay, and you have to calculate the molar boiling point elevation, means you have to calculate the value of Kb, and rest of the values you have given. So by putting all these equation values, you can easily calculate the molar boiling point elevation. Okay. So the next and last colligative properties is the freezing point depression. Similarly, similar to the molar boiling point elevation, the freezing point depression delta T fusion is equal to RT0 square M1M upon delta H fusion. So here you are taking the enthalpy of fusion instead of enthalpy of vaporization. Okay, so this is the difference between the freezing point depression and molar point elevation. Similarly, you can also define the freezing point depression. If you put the value of m is equal to 1, then usually you can define the freezing point depression delta T fusion is equal to Kf. So you can define the molar freezing point depression constant of a solvent is defined as the depression in freezing point of the solution, which may be theoretically produced when 1 mole of the solute is dissolved in 1 kilogram of the solvent. Okay. So as I mentioned, if you know the mathematical formula, you can easily define the freezing point depression and molar boiling point elevation, which is the colligative properties. Okay. Similarly, you can solve one numerical problem which is based on the molar freezing point depression. So here you have given the enthalpy of del H vaporization. Okay. So by putting all these values, you can easily calculate the enthalpy of molar freezing point. Okay. So thank you very much, all of you, for joining this lecture, and I am looking forward to all of you. I'm looking forward to see you, all of you, when the institute opens. Stay safe and take care. Goodbye. If you have any questions or if you have any problem, you can post on Google Classroom and I will respond of your queries. Okay. I have also provided to all of you the 2 books in order to cover the unit 3rd and 4th part. Okay. So all of you start reading the respective chapters from the books. Then you can easily understand the concept of unit 3rd part, which is the marine chemistry, and the unit 4th part, which is the geochemistry isotope. Okay. And also I will take 4 to 5 lectures to describe you about the basic concept about the marine chemistry and also the geochemistry. Okay. But all of you from your side try to start to cover the unit 3rd and 4th part. And also I will provide some assignment based upon the 3rd and 4th part. Then you can easily cover the entire syllabus. Okay. Thank you all of you.